How's it going, everyone? This is Zero Kimchi, your source for Winlator news and more. It is time for Winlator news. Bruno has released the final update to Winlator 10 with a few general improvements and additions as well as improvements to his Vortex driver. According to the changelog, improved the task manager. As you can see, it has a brand new visuals. Added GPU info to the start menu, which is an application that shows a ton of information related to the GPU in use. Added missing GStreamer plugins. This module is related to video decoding, which is nice to have improvements in because there are GStreamer issues across all Winlator versions which can cause crashes. Added configuration to Vortex. You may have seen a lot of news recently involving Mali and BCN texture compression, as well as Bruno having worked on them to fix Mali issues. Some devices didn't support them and needed to be backported to his driver. This has finally been resolved and now Mali users can enjoy Winlator. Or can they? Unfortunately, so far only the G68, G57, G52, MC2 and G710 have been reported working so far, while others are having no luck at running games. To troubleshoot this, Bruno has uploaded a debug build, so with this, at least we know that Bruno is working on it and more improvements are coming. I will however not share this debug build as he wishes not to be shared. I'm guessing the debug build contains bugs and is not meant for main use. Furthermore, the Vortex changelog states that it fixes several graphic issues on Mali GPUs, such as vertex explosions and T-pose animation. There are also fixes for freezes on startups for games, improved compatibility for Mesa Zinc, which is used for OpenGL games, another great win, and general improvements to performance. Let's check out some of the changes within Winlator. If we go and open up the main settings of Winlator, you will see that a lot of things seems to have been cut out, or maybe I'm just used to forks. The main change here is the ability to fetch Box64 versions and download them. Checking out the container settings, for Turnip you can now fetch other versions and download them. Vortex shows a couple of new options now, the Vulkan version and exposed extensions, which you can get a list of. Under Wine configuration, a lot of settings have been cut out, like the GPU model selection. I wasn't able to get GPU info application to boot, neither on Turnip or Vortex, but if you want to try it out, you can find it here. I also only got one game to boot that was not booting on Cmod Bionic, because of a GStreamer issue, which I believe Bruno fixed here. Keep in mind that Winlator 10 uses GLIBC instead of Prud, which mainly improves loading times in certain games and in some cases even performance. It contains Bruno's proprietary fixes that other folks may not have, so compatibility may or may not be higher versus contemporary forks. Compatibility in 32-bit games is still a big hit and miss, as Box86 has been substituted for the experimental WoW64. As such, older games may still be problematic to get to boot, such as some Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed games. Your millage may also vary between devices since compatibility heavily involves around your device's GPU capabilities. Speaking of GPUs, I'm proud to announce that initial support for the Adreno 710 and Adreno 720 have finally come to the Turnip playing field. It has almost been a year since I last released an experimental driver for these unsupported GPUs. Unfortunately, these contain several graphical issues when used. I didn't continue experimenting with the source code because I assumed something way more complex needed to be done, involving owning a device and debugging it. But turns out the solution was much more simple. Compablo, the main developer of Micewine, created a patch that does 2 extra simple steps from what I did previously. Look, I have never said I'm a Mesa developer, I'm more of an INI editor. I also replicated what Pablo did for the Adreno 720. So thanks to Pablo, Adreno 710 and Adreno 720 users can now enjoy emulators at their heart's content. A few caveats, however. On Winlator and probably other compatibility layers, you need to disable gmem from the turnip debug variable in the environment variables list. You do not need to enable gmem since I forced it in the code already in the initial driver. However, I will revert this in the official release so I can patch this fix into the official driver and everyone can choose between sysmem or gmem. With the official driver on my repository, Adreno 710 and Adreno 720 should use gmem. I will note it down on the release post. For other emulators like switch emulators, the side effects are more severe. There is no way to switch between sysmem and gmem on the emulators itself. However, it does work with my forced gmem driver. Unfortunately, on switch emulators, performance is not up to par with what it actually should be, and there are still graphic bugs, while on Winlator it seems to be fine. The solution is a hacky solution and will remain so until proper support is implemented by Mesa, so there will be issues until then. Good news is that it has been reported to Mesa and they might consider to look at it. And there you have it. If you are on the lookout for alternatives to Winlator, I recommend checking out Micewine. It's a decent Windows emulator, it works, it's been praised on the Emugear Discord, and it is good. It will, however, take some effort to get used to the ways it does things if you are already used to Winlator. Which is why you don't see me reviewing other emulators. I'm just too invested into Winlator. And lastly, if you are new to Winlator and are looking for documentation, resources and a compatibility list or wish to contribute to it, check out my Winlator 101 repository. I linked it in the description below. It is far from finished, but I'm adding bits every day. Anyways, that's it for this video. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. Make sure to like, hit the subscribe button and share this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.